So as awkward as it is that we find ourselves in my bedroom, I figured it would be better that we talk about sleep in a sleeping environment rather than talking about it in bed this whole time. Now, why are we going to talk about sleep? It's incredibly important. It makes up about 1/3 of your entire life, so it's obviously really important. It matters a lot to me, and it has major medical ramifications. So for example, if you don't get a great night's sleep, it can result in you gaining weight. It can result in memory problems, depression. It can decrease your sex drive. You can get diabetes, high blood pressure, stroke, heart attack. It increases the likelihood that you might get into a car accident. You know, it even has problems with your memory. If you do get sleep on a regular basis and you're sleeping really well, it helps you maintain a healthy weight. You get sick less. What I mean by that is it improves your immune system. It reduces your stress, you think better, so it's a great thing all around to get into the habit of doing well. We're gonna talk about lots of strategies on how to do that. And first, we need to talk about how to get tired. And I think when a lot of people are considering that, they often turn to the medicine cabinet. Now, it shouldn't surprise you that this stuff isn't very good for you. I mean, medication, obviously it works, obviously it's powerful, but it has some major side effects. Doxylamine succinate? Now that's the stuff in Unisom and generic sleep aids. Oh my God, this one's even worse. I can't read this. Diphenhydramine, HCI. Okay, so apparently that's the stuff in ZQuil and Benadryl. Now these substances, while they're very effective, they also come with side effects. So the antihistamines that I just mentioned but cannot pronounce, some of the side effects include constipation, upset stomach, blurred vision, dizziness, loss of coordination, dry mouth. But you can also end up feeling really hungover the next day because they don't leave your system very fast. More powerful medications such as Ambien causes people to sleepwalk and do a lot of things in their sleep that they're not aware of. Roseanne Barr claims that the tweet she wrote that lost her the television show that she had was because she was on Ambien. Other people have committed homicide while on Ambien, and it's so common that they actually call it the Ambien defense, where they go into court and they say, hey, I wasn't under my own control, I was on these drugs that caused me to sleep, and that's why I did it. Maybe one of the biggest problems by using sleep medication is that they can make you dependent on it. They're so effective that you might find that you won't be able to sleep unless you find yourself on these substances, which can ruin your chances of sleeping the next day without the substances again. Ultimately, you become a junkie. So, how can you get tired? Well, there might be a really easy way. It should come as no surprise that getting up, hopping on a treadmill, or just going to the gym and working out is going to be one of the best things you can do to make yourself tired later on in the day. Now, I know for a lot of people, myself included, that can be a struggle. It's a lot easier to say it than to actually go out and do it. So on the previous video that I made, I show ways to automate your life, different ideas, different techniques. And one of those techniques is how to get up every morning, hop on the treadmill, or go to the gym. So if you want to learn more about that, go check out my other videos, and there's more to be seen there. Let's talk a little bit about what you sleep on, the bedding you use, and we'll start off by talking about pillows. Now, I've tried every kind of pillow. There seems to be two major camps for pillows. There seems to be the people that are into the down type pillow, or there's people that are really into like foam, memory foam, that kind of stuff. I don't believe in either of those because I've tried both, and I've really resulted in going with a third option. It's kind of an expensive option, but it's really worth it, and that is latex. Latex pillows. Now, this is a latex pillow. The reason latex is superior to both of these, first off, it's more dense than memory foam. It's more dense than down, which means it provides greater support when you sleep. Secondly, it's incredibly flexible. What that means is that's going to make it really soft and pliable. It's going to provide a softer pillow than any other option you can have. And thirdly, it doesn't get deformed over time. So it basically is very resistant to losing its shape and you having to fluff up the pillow over and over again. If you have the opportunity, I highly recommend checking out latex pillows. These are the way to go. Now let's talk a little bit about blankets. There's a lot of different types of blankets out there, but I'd strongly encourage you to check out weighted blankets. A 2014 crossover study found that weighted blankets help reduce sleep issues and that they have a lot of the same benefits as deep pressure stimulation. They've been shown to relieve pain, lessen anxiety, and improve your mood. Now, if you're curious what weight you should get, a weighted blanket should be about 10% 1% of your weight. And this is what a weighted blanket is. Each one of these little quilted units has little tiny glass beads in them that increases their weight. Well, things have kind of exploded in the mattress business. However, innerspring mattresses, which is kind of the classic spring-based mattress, has major flaws, and so do those foam beds. So I'm here to give you an option, a third option. Now, let me tell you what's wrong with innerspring mattresses first and foam beds. First off, innerspring mattresses, they provide a pressure point at every point where that spring is, and that's really their major drawback. Foam beds don't provide that initial pressure point. However, they're not great at balancing weight. They get really, really hot, and they leave an impression in the bed. So they're not really a fantastic option either. I think you should really check out water beds. They've evolved a long ways since like the 70s, where everybody had them and they were big and wavy and they had hard sides. Things have moved a long way since then. If you want a firmer bed, all you've got to do is you've got to add more water into the mattress. So you can also adjust the temperature in modern water beds because they come with heating units. Now, a lot of people suffer from bed sores and things of that nature. And believe it or not, water beds were invented specifically to counteract bed sores. If you're sleeping with a loved one, they get up to use the bathroom in the middle of the night, the whole bed waves around and moves. Well, that's really a thing of the past. Believe it or not, waterbeds now are considered waveless. Lastly is lumbar support. Now, this is actually the drawback of waterbeds, but because it was a drawback for them, a lot of research and a lot of effort has been put in to making sure they provide really great lumbar support. And now there are waterbeds that have some of the very best out there. One of the greatest enemies you face when trying to get a good night's sleep is light. The American Journal of Epidemiology linked nighttime light exposure to depression. And according to the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute, light is what controls the circadian rhythms and tells you when to sleep. So there's a lot of things you can do about it, but screens like this are definitely the enemy. Things like blackout curtains can really help. Another thing that can help a lot are face masks. This is my preferred face mask, which is much more like a headband. And the reason I like this is because since I have no hair, face masks generally leave a band impressed into my head where the strap is, and this one doesn't have that. A study published in Critical Care found that those who wore face masks got much more REM sleep. That's the restorative sleep that you really want. You also fall asleep faster, at least the studies have shown that. It also helps you produce more melatonin, which is a hormone, an antioxidant essentially, that helps you sleep and prevents damage to your DNA. So first things first, you should probably turn off your screens, don't watch TV. According to Harvard, you should avoid bright screens 2 to 3 hours before bed. Now, not all light is created equal. Red light is a lot less disruptive to sleep. My whole house has Hue light bulbs in them, and those lights specifically can be changed to different colors at any time. If I need to get up and use the restroom, I have a program to turn on one light bulb at a very dim brightness so that I can get up, go to the restroom, and not really have my eyes dilate and have to deal with light. It's all red, so it doesn't mess up with my night vision. There's a few cool tricks that you can do here if you have to stare at screens. One of which is a program called F.Lux. What it does is it essentially takes the blue light out of the machines. Now, blue light is the enemy. Blue light is the kind of light that you see in the morning, and it tells your body, hey, it's morning, it's time to wake up, it's time to have energy. So F.Lux takes that blue light out of your screens. You can install it on your computers. If you've got a Mac or an iPhone, they use something very similar called Night Shift. Now, F.Lux is made for Mac, but part of the operating system of Macs and iPhones and iPads is this piece of technology called Night Shift that essentially does the same thing. If you're lucky to have those Hue light bulbs, I use an app called Circadian Hue for Philips Hue lights, and what that does is it takes the blue light out of my light bulbs at night at a set time. So for me at 8 o'clock at night, all the blue gets taken out of the light bulbs that I use. If you're finding this stuff helpful, please subscribe, hit the little bell below. I really appreciate it. I'm brand new to YouTube, so any feedback, any comments, all that stuff, it really helps. I'd love to know what you do to help you sleep better, so please comment on that below. But let's keep going. A lot of people find it really, really difficult to sleep with a lot of audio going on in the background, but other people find certain sounds really, really relaxing. I don't know which kind of person you are, but some might want to put in earplugs. If you're like me, I actually like having some background noise. And the most common background noise that people find useful when sleeping is white noise. White noise is basically just static. It's nonsense sound. But it helps a lot of people sleep. I recommend an app called White Noise. And that app, for me, produces a great deal of relaxing sounds. Now, some people find different sounds relaxing. So for example, some people like rainfall or campfires or ocean waves, crickets, clothes dryers, oscillating fans, and so forth. And you can even stack those sounds inside that app. So you can listen to a combination of the sounds that you find most relaxing. So there are other things that I've ended up listening to that I find really, really useful. One in particular is a podcast that's called Sleep With Me. And what's wonderful about that podcast is it's a guy telling a story that makes no sense, it's super boring, but it's designed to put you to sleep. If you find that you have a hard time going to sleep because your mind's moving at a mile a minute and it's constantly thinking of maybe what I've got to do tomorrow or what regrets I had about today or any stressful situation you're dealing with, you can focus on a story that makes essentially no sense at all, and it takes your mind away from dealing with those thoughts that are maybe preventing you from getting the night's sleep that you really want and really deserve. Let's talk a little bit about the air that you breathe while you sleep. I know that might seem like a weird thing to discuss, but it's really, really important, and it's one of the best ways to ensure that you get a great night's sleep. It's also one of the things that a lot of people don't consider when thinking about how to get great rest at night. The first thing to try out is something called the 5-7-8 breathing pattern or breathing exercise. The idea of it is really simple, and the execution is just as easy. You breathe in for 4 seconds, you hold that breath for another 7 seconds, and then you exhale for 8 seconds. You repeat that process 4 or 5 times. Now, Dr. Andrew Weil says that this can help reduce anxiety, it can help manage cravings, it reduces your aggression, and ultimately, it helps you sleep. So it's definitely worth checking out. Also, you should check out humidifiers. Now, humidifiers, if you live in a dry environment, like I do here in the middle of the desert, they can help your respiratory tract by keeping it nice and moist. It keeps you comfortable. It also can reduce symptoms that you might have if you suffer from asthma. Now, a lot of people use a mouthpiece when they sleep. A mouthpiece can help alleviate jaw tension, which can result in a headache, which of course is going to make you sleep a lot worse. So it helps prevent that. It also can help you if you grind your teeth at night, which can ultimately result in a lot of dental damage. If this is something that you're concerned about, I strongly recommend going and talking to your dentist. Lastly, there are mouthpieces that are designed specifically to help you reduce your snoring if you're somebody like me who happens to snore. And speaking of snoring, if you're one of those people, if you're one of those beautiful bald people that snore, something to check out is mouth tape. Now, all mouth tape is you take a little piece of medical tape and you put it over your mouth when you sleep. Now, that might sound claustrophobic to some people, but I assure you, it's not bad at all. I've been doing it now for a couple of months. It forces you to breathe in and out through your nose. And when you do that, it releases nitric oxide, which produces lower blood pressure. So it helps you relax more. It also, of course, helps you stop snoring. And there's a great book called Breathe that suggests this and goes into much greater detail about all the benefits of taping your mouth closed while you sleep. Lastly, when it comes to air, is you may suffer from sleep apnea and not know it. Now, this is especially true if you're a person that snores. Now, I happen to be one of these people, and I went on a business trip with a friend of mine, and we had to share a room, and he said, "Hey, Tyus, you stop breathing when you sleep." So I immediately went and had a sleep study done. It turned out I've been suffering from sleep apnea for who knows how long. And they ended up giving me a CPAP machine. This is a CPAP machine. It comes with a hose, and I cover my face with a mask while I sleep. I know that sounds terrible. However, think of the alternative. You can ultimately be dying while you sleep and not know it. I've suggested this to other friends, and they told me that it was one of the most life-changing things that ever happened to them for helping their energy the next day, but it also probably saved them years within their life. So if you do suffer from snoring, I would really, really strongly suggest you find out if you have sleep apnea, and if so, a sleep apnea machine, a CPAP machine, a BiPAP machine might be the solution for you. An area that a lot of people neglect when trying to get a great night's sleep is focusing on their temperature, the temperature of their bed, the temperature of their bedroom. Some people think that it's better to sleep in a nice warm environment, but all the evidence has shown that actually sleeping in cold is what is much more effective. Cold temperature is a natural indicator to your body that it's time to go to bed, and it helps you go to sleep faster. According to a study by the University of South Australia, cold fights insomnia, improves melatonin production. It also increases your metabolism. So what can you do specifically to help cool your body down? Well, I'm going to give you a couple of options. Obviously, you can run the air at a colder temperature in your room, but a trick that a lot of people don't consider is you could take a hot bath or a hot shower before bedtime. Even though you're raising the temperature in your body by getting into a hot bath, your body decides, hey, I need to dissipate all this heat. So it makes your body cool down as fast as possible. And that cooling effect helps you go to bed faster. A secondary thing you can do is you can try something called the chili pad. A chili pad is a very high-tech kind of bed sheet that goes under your primary sheet and has water running through it. That water is cooled and helps reduce your body temperature and makes people go to sleep really, really fast. In Tim Ferriss's book, Tools for Titans, one of the #1 things recommended by tons of successful people happens to be that they sleep using this tool called a chili pad. Whatever techniques, whatever tools, whatever bedding, whatever you decide to do to get a great night's sleep, maybe one of the most important things you can do is set up a consistent routine for what that is. Whether that is choosing to go to bed always at the same time, or whether that's choosing to repeat the same steps before you go to bed, maybe doing the same breathing exercise, whatever the case may be. So creating a routine might be the very best way of getting to sleep every night. And speaking of routine, I hope it becomes your routine to check out my videos on a regular basis. So I am going to be doing everything I can to create the very best content for you when it comes to things around lifestyle design and creating the life you really, really want. If you want to see my next videos, the things that are going to be coming up, you can click on the subscribe button. It's down below. Hit the little bell. Apparently that helps. I also created a video specifically on automating your life, so I hope you check that out. I'm going to be creating one on how to build habits. Habits like maybe how to get great rest. The habits that you might want to do before going to bed. So if you subscribe, you'll automatically be made aware when that video comes out. I hope I'll see you then.